Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Studio Reverie's live recorded sessions of Arc 6. We're reading chapters 73, 74 today. There's some pretty massive chapters. So, heads up, this is a heavy wolf chapter. Two chapters, plural. So it's really going to be narration and Subaru with the odd interjection from a few characters. So, it's going to be intense. If you haven't read these chapters, they're some of the best of the best. Hope you enjoy them. We will, just as a reminder, we'll be live this Saturday. Again, normal times. We're going to do the next two chapters. And then we are not going to be live next Wednesday. Instead, the boys and myself will record a podcast episode for Arc 7 and 8, my reaction specifically, and talking about that. I will watch the podcast episode, so it won't be like repeated stuff you've already seen in the podcast. I'm going to be bringing in my own perspective and adding to what the boys have already said. So that'll be out, and I'm going to hopefully get it out by Friday for you, so you podcast enjoyers, you can eat. You're welcome. Also, this Sunday for us people in North America, and if you are on the other side of the world, technically, potentially Monday, some of our cast will be going live on Common's channel with the web novel reading of The Apothecary Diaries. We're going to help Common test it out on the channel, make sure that she doesn't get hit with copyright strike or anything, and if not, Common will be holding a casting call for the Apothecary Diaries series, made just like our series with ReZero, but Apothecary Diaries instead. Yay! I think that's all of our updates. Thank you all for being here. Sorry for the random Friday throw-in. We thought we'd just knock it out of the park, get it out of the way. So I'm overworking Chase like crazy. All right, without further ado, let's bring the cast on. Yay! Oh, I turned them off. Hold on. And you are live.
Woohoo!
You guys are silent this time.
Yeah, we're not. We literally just finished.
Spoilers.
All right, everybody. From top to bottom, we will introduce ourselves. We're missing a few people today.
Gold.
Oh, Gold may have walked away. We will break momentarily. La 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 la. To those of you who are in the chat who haven't been here in a while, you're welcome for changing the times. It's good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. It has been a while. Let us see. Gold, are you back? We'll come back to him after if he's not. He is not. Greenie, are you there?
I am still here.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is Greenie, one of the editors of Studio Reverie, and I am actually pretty hyped for this stream.
Woo woo.
Woo! Hello, I am Carmen, another editor for Studio Reverie, as well as your Melee and Lai and Roy. However, not for today because it's just a special chapter.
Special chapter. I'm Kyle's McGiles. I'm your Amelia, Shala, and stand-in Anastasia. However, I too will only have like 2 Amelia dialogue lines. And that's it. That's it for me.
Hello, everyone. I am Tealdi. I am stand-in Betty, I suppose. But today, I am narrating, and also there's a fun little character that's coming back just for some flashback lines, but it'll be a treat.
Yay!
Hello everyone, Wolf here. I'm your Subaru today and tomorrow. And forever. Bit nervous today. Probably my biggest chapters ever. And there ever will be. So, yeah, just, work with me here.
And I gave you no time to prepare. You're welcome. With love. Gold, are you back? You're back.
I'm back. Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Gold. I'm one of the hosts of the ReZero podcast. I'm on the founder of Studio Reverie, and I'm here today to help narrate this chapter with you all today. I hope you all are doing great on this lovely Friday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Yay!
We're here a lot this week. We're here a lot this week to catch up a bit.
We're in the mines.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. We're so
Deep
close
in
to
the
the end
mines.
of Arc 6, so I appreciate you all. Once we're
Yeah.
done,
It's smooth sailing. Yeah.
exactly. This is the fastest we've completed an arc. Yes, we've only done technically 2 full arcs, really. Well, 3 if you count arc 1. But I don't fully count that because that's like, what, 6 chapters?
It's about 20, I think.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Okay, well, we completed arc 1. Good for us.
Yay!
But it's just going to feel nice that we completed this within a year. Yes, we have our edited chapters that will come out. But the fact that we got this done in a year and arc 5 took 4, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Because arc 7 is being cranked out. This next week, we'll have up to phase 6, hopefully out by next Friday. Not this Friday, the next.
High quality stuff coming up.
Hi! Without further ado, are we ready for these 2 big boy chapters?
No, but let's do it.
Let's do this.
Do you have enough water, Chase?
Drinking more water is gonna make it worse for me, if
True.
I'm being honest. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna stay my hand.
Okay.
So winging it sounds about.
It's just gonna dry out my throat more, so it's not worth doing until like
Get
3
some
chapters.
greasy chips in ya.
Sorry for the interruption of my background music. It is now off.
Can you imagine?
A beautiful cover of Raphael's final act. Top live. Discord. Alrighty. So for chapters, we have Tealdi narrating 73. We have Gold narrating 74. Tealdi, are you in a good spot with groceries to start, or do you want to wait a minute?
Hold on. I just need to pick one more cereal.
Oh, we can
So-
hold off. No worries.
All right. You know what? Honeycomb. I like honeycomb. Let's do that.
Excellent choice.
Give me the. No, not the little one. Give me the big one. Kids go through a lot of cereal. I need that big bag. All right, there. Okay.
Woohoo! Okay, while we give Taildy a moment to finish, Arc 7 is currently quite well underway. Our voice actors are very excited to keep going. This arc is a lot of fun. Don't worry, we're going to be posting the fully edited chapters probably by the time we're done. It's probably by the time I'll actually have the time to edit them down. Because I'm going to finish releasing all the chapters out to our voice actors for Arc 7. And then I'm going to come back to doing the final edits. That way I can let my audio engineers just like slowly compile all of Arc 7 together. We started getting our first rounds of audio, so phase 1 is underway. And we have Kiki was able to record up to, I think it was chapter like 45 for us before going on vacation, and Ali was able to record up to I think chapter 15 or something. Don't blame her for stopping there, to be quite honest. And so we're gonna give her a little bit more time because we're really happy that she still wants to work with us. Yay! But we will have those out as soon as possible. We're gonna finish posting Arc 6, the edited chapters, before we start posting Arc 7. That is our one thing. We've kind of redecided after debating that instead of reading Arc 7 live, we are instead gonna go back to Arc 2, 3, and 4, and we're gonna finish that up instead. Should by the time we catch up to Arc 4, we still have time for Arc 7 or 8, our live reads will then switch over to where we're at in the story. To just give us a fun time recording all together. Because it's also fun. And if we one day catch up, anytime Tepe has a chapter out, we're just gonna read whenever he has a chapter out.
Yay.
Imagine being
Very
caught up in
great.
arc 9.
Imagine.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
If we could get
I mean,
that far, that would be crazy. If we could catch up before the story's done, whoo, we could be there. That's the new goal.
Imagine us reaching the very end with him, with Tape. That'd be the
Like holding
that'd be
hands
quite
with Tepe.
yeah.
Skipping through the fields.
Ooh, so nice. All right. We ready?
Yes.
Hi.
Taildy is almost ready. I'm gonna talk over so no
Sorry.
background noise is heard.
Sorry, I just gotta pay for it real quick.
Oh, no
Sorry.
worries. Take your time. Okay, we will keep showing. No, don't be sorry. I was talking over so
Okay,
he
you
didn't
know
hear
what?
husband Kun.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, Kionis is doing school stuff.
Mhm.
His new semester just started, so he's in
Congrats! What were you saying, Greenie?
I was gonna say, if we want to stall, what's y'all's favorite part of this arc so far?
Ooh, excellent question.
I'm biased.
Melee? Question mark?
Yeah.
I am too, because one of mine is stand up, and
Mhm.
this chapter, and I won't explain it much, but Ram's upcoming name chapter.
Oh my
That is
god, I
probably
love
my
that one.
favorite chapter alongside these two chapters
Mhm.
coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So good.
That one and Melee are my top two.
Hell yeah.
So hard to decide between them though.
Gold.
All right,
what
there
about
we go.
you?
Sorry, I am done and paid.
Woohoo!
Woo!
What about me?
First
What's your
reorder is
favorite
in.
part of Arc
I'm
6?
good to go.
I think it's probably coming up with Ram's chapter, yeah.
Okay. TL, did you have a
I
favorite
mean, I
part
like
of
a lot of it, but it's yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
there's so many good things.
there's a lot. There's a lot of narration that's happened, so you know.
Love that. And now
Although the Louis was fun, I will say that was fun.
Yeah,
She's
I
very
was about to
fun.
say that moment's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that was a wild chapter to read.
it
Well.
was.
Without further ado, more narration for Tealdi.
Huzzah!
Whenever you're ready.
All right. Arc 6, Chapter 73, Natsuki Subaru. With the Book of the Dead, which had Natsuki Subaru inscribed on it in his hands, he stood still. Widening his dark eyes in astonishment, Subaru felt his throat rapidly becoming parched. Modest expressions such as astonishing or stupefying would be far too lacking. What had struck Subaru at that moment was something much more serious, something as if numbing harm, a lethal toxin which would wield effect only when used on Subaru and nobody else. The Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru was piercing through Subaru whilst commanding such powerful connotation.
What?
A Book of the Dead that was not supposed to exist was present here. What was supposed to be present in the third floor of Pleiades' watchtower, Tegeta, were the books of the dead recording the lives of the departed. Having a book of a living being was contradictory. Or perhaps, could this mean he simply, by chance, had found the book of a human with the same name and surname?
That would have actually been convincing. Had this not been a different world.
The possibility that rose to the surface in his mind was instantly repudiated. Though it was a matter of course, this place was a different world. In this place, where even the rules of naming would be vastly different from what Subaru was aware of, why would a name like Natsuki Subaru manifest in this place? Even before that, there lay a decisive issue. The title of Natsuki Subaru's book had been written in kanji. From what all Subaru had witnessed till now, even the characters were different in this different world. That was why, even if someone else aside from Subaru who did not know of his world's characters were to see it, they would probably perceive this title as if being hieroglyphic characters or something of that sort. If that were to be considered, the unbelievable chances of Subaru finding the Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru here through sheer luck was...
It's predetermined and established whom this belongs to.
He could only think of that being true. Once again, with the Book of the Dead in his hands, Subaru silenced himself and pondered. The reason why Subaru had happened upon this Book of the Dead was because he had depended upon the dim response he had spied out through Corleones. This had not been the first or second time he had searched for a book in the library, though Subaru was mindful of it. Discovering the book being aimed for in this enormous archive was a deed next to impossible to achieve. Perhaps the kind, unattainable, lest God's unseen hand were put to work.
Or perhaps not. Not God, but someone's.
Subaru held conviction in that particular speculation. The rest lay in the authenticity of this Book of the Dead, and whether what was depicted here was truly the life of Natsuki Subaru or not. If it were truly depicted, then what sort of trick was behind it? As the solemn truth, Subaru was here, alive. If the Book of the Dead of this Subaru was truly here, then...
Am I being treated as deceased ever since I lost my memories? The Book of the Dead of Taigeta, that hall of memories, is even observing the worlds I die in.
If that were the case, then in no way was it inconceivable that it was depicting Subaru's deaths in some type of form through the Book of the Dead. However, in that case, what did that make of return by death?
Whether it rewinds time, or does it rebuild the world itself? I'd given a thought to both, but...
For argument's sake, along the hypothesis that the Books of the Dead held a method to generate the Book of Natsuki Subaru, it could not be helped but to reach the conviction that the latter had much more likelihood. If that held true, then the phenomenon which encased this Natsuki Subaru was not something as charming as return by death, but...
Am I an idiot? No, I definitely am an idiot. Damn coward!
Sensing his contemplation disarray into a slant, Subaru abused himself. Why his thoughts had gone astray, he understood the reason for that by immediately noticing his own cowardice. He was merely frightened of the Book of the Dead. What would happen once he read the Book of Natsuki Subaru? He was frightened of that happening, whose course was completely unfathomable. Henceforth, pursuing the hypothesis lacking all foundation, he was trying to delay it and keep delaying it. Delaying opening the first page of the book within his hands. Though it was not a hypothesis which had come into being merely 5 minutes prior or anything, the fact that the Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru was present here was strange. But for Subaru, it was also salvation. He considered it evidence that Subaru had not popped up into being at this place, at this moment. However, along with that, it also held the meaning that a Natsuki Subaru other than himself had certainly existed and had walked his own path in this different world, and also that Subaru was trampling upon those footsteps from above, laying waste to them, layering paint over them. That was why all that was left was to gain confirmation.
First of all, as the Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru, where does this thing start from, and where does it end at?
In Meili's instance, it had been precisely from her infancy onwards, ever since she gained awareness of... ever since her memories had been established as memories, and it had been possible to follow her since her youth. However, how would things unfold in Subaru's case? Having been able to read the Book of the Dead, would it originate the sprouting of a self-consciousness similarly to how it had happened with Meili, growing over time and, ultimately, where would it lead to? If Natsuki Subaru was being counted as deceased, rather than the presently amnesiac Natsuki Subaru following Natsuki Subaru's memories, up until the moment immediately preceding the loss of memories, would be natural. Or perhaps not. Instead, perhaps it would trace the memories of the present Subaru, who had lost his memories, up until he had awakened inside the tower. In that scenario, which death would it choose for the end? Otherwise, as Reed's Book of the Dead, what would merely be present would be a wreckage of memories turned void. Just as the memories of Reed, which had been recorded in the Book of the Dead, had disappeared from within the book in order to reconstruct him as the examiner of this tower, the memories of Natsuki Subaru had also possibly disappeared. That was why what would be visible after opening this book would not be the memories of Natsuki Subaru, but
In the end, what do you want to do? Cowardly bastard.
did he desire to see it? Did he desire not to see it? Disdaining his own self, who had been unable to easily respond to that, reprimanding the fearfully curled up fool, he exhaled. After coming this far, it was inconceivable to opt for not seeing it. Even if it had risen to the surface as an option, he could not even envisage the lunacy of choosing it. That was why. 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 And then, and then, and then, and then, and then. Taking a powerful breath in, he opened the Book of the Dead. And the journey of Natsuki Subaru, of an unknown origin and an unknown termination.
This is seriously bad.
Tasting a solid sensation on his face, his brain was being scorched by the flaming heat in his abdomen. Violent fever which restricted even his breathing. His head felt hot as if magma had been poured into his blood vessels. Yet his limbs turned colder and heavier, the inconsistent sensations jolting his existence down to the very soul itself. His thoughts screamed about what had occurred. His thoughts screamed that he must do something. With those flowing in and intertwining, he gave rise to a screech. However, his consciousness, which was screaming he must do something, proved to be futile. The moment he moved his hands in an attempt to break out of the deadlock and touched his guts, which were the origin of the scorching heat, his palm was drenched wet with thick blood, and he understood that further blood also had the floor drenched.
Is all of this my blood?
Though he was unaware of the amount of blood that had flowed on and inundated the floor, the bleeding had not been to the level of one donating blood. The source of his life streaming out did not put a halt to the fragile lamp of life. In short, his fleshy body had already commenced the countdown towards death. Even still, the reason why had not yet died was because for this life of his, which was heading towards its death, there yet remained a mission to fulfill. He had to raise his voice. He must raise his voice.
Watch out. It's dangerous. Don't come here. Run without turning back even once. Run at full speed.
And he must inform them about the hazard. He must convey it to her, inform her about the danger, so that she would not enter this place. And yet, he was unable to raise his voice. What came out instead was a nauseating, warm blood clot. With his throat clogged by that, he was rendered incapable of bringing out even a single word. Violently coughing, the scorching heat in his abdomen expanded. Ache and agony, misery and disorder, and
Baru?
a voice with the tone of a silver bell eventually took a step into the space it must not enter. He had to stop that, no matter what. And yet, he did not make it. Though he had to do that, even if it meant the loss of his life. just because his guts had been rent. A scream echoed, and someone collapsed down onto the floor along with Violet. The hand of that fallen someone, overlapping with the hand of his fallen self, was an offensive prank on part of a far too ironic fate. In all ways, the wickedness of the one known as fate was far too onerous to describe with words. Those weakly trembling fingers softly grasped that overlapping hand, grasping back that sensation of fingers, as if they were clinging and relying upon. Subaru took a deep, deep inhale, that clump of blood accompanying it. A clot of blood escaped him. His life seeped, streamed away. He could not stop that outward flow of blood. No longer could he do anything. The situation had reached its absolute. All due to a single powerless, incompetent man. Everything was going to start afresh. That was why his vow died with his blood, wielded no significance. Even though he knew nothing could be done, his idiocy yet commanded him to vow. Even though he knew it was over. Even though he knew it would be over. As if those were not coming to an end, disgracefully, he vowed.
I, no matter what, will save you.
At the next instant, he, Natsuki Subaru /Natsuki Subaru, lost his life. The moment the connection was severed, Subaru sensed firm pain at the back of his head.
God!
The impact reverberated in his skull. He hallucinated as if he had been suddenly struck from behind. But he immediately understood that he was mistaken, because Subaru's body had collapsed right towards his back, and he could feel the entirety of his back making contact with the chilling floor.
This place is
Not in the icy, dim, and somewhat dirty building, but he was in the library of Taygeta. Slowly pouring energy back into his body, turning around his dumbfounded head, Subaru turned his neck around, and then touched his own guts with great perplexity. They're supposed to be present. It's the wound which would diminish his life. However,
not there. Not there. Not there. The wound isn't there. The slash in the guts isn't there.
touching his guts countless times, he confirmed the disappearance of the origin of scorching heat. Within the spectacle he had witnessed immediately previously, that utmost vivid sensation was vanishing. He had heard that the brain hallucinated ache far too intense as a fever, a phenomenon identical to what had occurred. In other words,
A memory of having guts be slashed open and dying.
the end of having one's guts cut open by a sharp-edged tool, drowning in a foam of blood with a sense of powerlessness, and dying. Finally, if he himself had been the only one to die by that, it was still excusable. However, that was not how it had been.
Satella.
What he whispered was the name of the girl he had been unable to save at the very end of the end. Her alias. Within that memory, the silver-haired young girl he recognized had fabricated her name and come in contact with Subaru. What had been the reason behind that? Though it was evident no evil intent had been the reason for it.
Still dying in such an uncouth way.
Putting his hand on his forehead, Subaru ruminated on what had occurred to his body. Being summoned to a different world, wandering aimlessly in the town with foolish positivity, picking up a quarrel with delinquents and almost dying, saved by Satella from that, and assisting her in her search for what she was looking for.
Completely useless.
At that moment, without even conveying the crisis he was supposed to convey, he had ended up having her get involved as well. Not just dying wastefully, the word vain in the expression dying in vain could not even make for an excuse. The life of Natsuki Subaru, could never compensate for it.
But
It was not as if he had gained absolutely nothing from it.
this was the Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru.
That alone was a certain, absolute, unquestionable truth. Hopeless, foolish, weak, irredeemable, Natsuki Subaru. He continued to enlarge his absurd self-consciousness. Overlapping with that, averted his eyes away from his lack of filial piety. And finally, using being summoned into the different world as a convenient means of escaping, and by exhibiting pessimistic positivity, he became a swindler trying to deceive himself, those around him, anything and everything. The result of that idiocy had tied together with the tragedy in that house. What a pretentious, naive, and foolish failure he'd been. How come he had been able to stay defenseless at that hazardous place? What had given his idiotic self baseless confidence? Like that, it would not be odd for him to get killed overseas, let alone in a different world. That lack of vigilance was to blame. The result of it all must be that. It had been so unsightly, such that he would have wanted to kill himself had he survived.
That hopeless, idiotic bastard. But
evidently, it had been fatal foolishness, but it was fortuitous to have it putting a check on his rage, enduring it, he scrutinized the truth closely. The Book of the Dead was certainly functioning. That book had recorded the death of Natsuki Subaru, and it thrust a great number of truths, which were a matter of course for Natsuki Subaru, and Natsuki Subaru, for whom there was no way to know them. To name it specifically, it was the sequence of events of obtaining the power of return from death. As per convention, an existence who was God or wielded similar strength, normally in a transcendental state of being, had summoned Subaru to this different world. However, for that Natsuki Subaru, if he were to not have the memories of being summoned by such a transcendental being, there would be no occasion where he would get to know whom he got the power granted to him from, and how he had grown conscious of that power. That was something Subaru could affirm, who had seen the end of that Natsuki Subaru himself. At the very end of the end, though he had been blabbering things without knowing when to give up, at that moment, Natsuki Subaru supposedly did not possess any confirmation that he would overcome death and rewind time. At the very least, he himself had been like that. Thinking that far, he abruptly noticed that he and Natsuki Subaru had not been able to see things from an objective point of view very well. The reason for that was evident.
it's diving more deeply than on Meili's instance.
When he had read Meili's Book of the Dead and personally experienced her life, he had tasted the sensation of having his mind undergo influence quite severely as well. Melting halfway with her personality, Meili had appeared within his mind as a symptom of hallucination, such that she had been able to say all what she wished, toying Subaru around. Above all, that had ultimately been a Meili fabricated by Subaru's consciousness, an illusion brought forth by chaos utterly unrelated to the real Meili. Of that he was aware. However, this instance's Book of the Dead demarcated a line between itself and Meili's experience. All things said and done, in the chaos immediately after reading Meili's book, still present were clues to differentiate between himself and her. The difference in gender, the difference in age, the difference in values, were plenty. Detaching himself from her through those clues, even if slightly, made it possible for him to comprehend that she was an entirely different existence. However, that was not how it was this time. None other than he himself was the party concerned. His self who was not himself, a situation which normally would not manifest. It laid expectation upon Natsuki Subaru and pushed him into his fight with himself. A fight with oneself. Judging by mere words, not many expressions are more cliché than this, but they were words which evidently and straightforwardly denoted the situation which Subaru had been placed in at present. The truth was, he possessed a negative outlook. Overlapping with his own self rather meant an act of painting his self out. The water washed by the dark paint called Natsuki Subaru dyed him as if with a paintbrush that had been dipped in that.
Amelia, 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 Amelia.
At the sensation of feeling himself painted out, Amelia called. At the sensation of feeling himself be painted out, Subaru called Amelia's name as if it were some magic. The reason why he chanted Amelia was evident. The Natsuki Subaru inside the Book of the Dead did not recognize her as Amelia. Trusting the alias he had been told, he saw through his duties as a clown until the very conclusion of the end. Therefore, that was the difference between the present Subaru and Natsuki Subaru. With the roots of his teeth quivering, fearing the sensation of his self being whittled, Subaru looked at his feet. The single book he had dropped thoughtlessly, that had fallen there. Once now, he had observed up until Natsuki Subaru's time of death. Thinking about it now, mysteriously enough, the Book of the Dead had commenced with the moment he had arrived into the different world, from the point he had shouted out the change of worlds with a foolishly bare expression. Even though for Meili's instance, it had commenced at the point in time she had acquainted a proper sense of. No, for now, all that was of no significance. The problem was the continuation to that Book of the Dead.
You must be thinking the same, Natsuki Subaru.
Thanks to the Book of the Dead, he had been able to witness what was perhaps the death of Natsuki Subaru when he was first summoned into the different world for himself. However, that was merely the beginning. That Natsuki Subaru must have also utilized the power of eternal death. Otherwise, that could possibly have been a power which had manifested not in the form of return by death, but something wholly different. No, that would be a more natural way. Rewinding time at will was much more convincing. For Natsuki Subaru, who had met Amelia, Beatrice, Ram, Echidna, Julius, Meili, Shala, Patricia, Gyan, and many others who expected him to play an active role, something like that was much more suitable. In that case,
That must be there, ahead of this.
Natsuki Subaru, who seemed to be no different from Natsuki Subaru. However, something decisive which had caused that Natsuki Subaru to become Natsuki Subaru did exist. Seeing that, Subaru at once held the book in his hands and, closing his eyes, took deep breaths. With the book in his hands, Subaru counted the beating of his chest, and while calming his down, he slowly commenced walking. A slow gait, however, straightforward, lacking all faltering. Before long, where Subaru had reached was in front of the bookshelf, and as he stretched his hand out,
Second book.
the single book following Natsuki Subaru made a weak assertion of itself through Corleone. The progress Natsuki Subaru made was unsightly, haphazard, irredeemable. Completely useless. A novice in appearance with crude movements. with neither divine protections nor any skill. I'd imagine that there'd be some instinct or intelligence at least, but not even that. I wonder, why do you even try? Tormented by a self-indulging mighty enemy, he was minced without being able to even launch a proper counterattack. And in the environs of his wounded self, as a blood-stained old man and a golden-haired girl collapsed. Neither of them could be saved. He could not even move. Slowly, 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 agonize. Before long, with his guts sliced, with his eyes sliced, within a world in which he lost his eyesight, with a time limit running against his life, he lived the time until his death nestling close in dread. Until the very conclusion of the end, all whilst fearing, shivering, dreading, disgracefully.
Oi, did you get stabbed?
It can't be helped, yeah. Let's try running there. It shouldn't be nothing so difficult. This one too. He'll die from his injuries to his guts. His clothes are all a mess as well.
Just how careless could you be to talk where your fallen opponent is? He must use his brain for such worthless thoughts. Otherwise, he would be rendered unable to comprehend the shocking pain piercing through his back. A technique to escape pain, or a method to protect himself. To have possession of them would have astonished him to the bottom of his... He was unable to save himself from the truly futile, vain death. Calling the girl Satella, although she was not Satella, having to hear harsh words from her due to that, unable to sense the strikingly obvious situation, and being killed by someone who looked down on him and had not thought of killing him. A suitable end. Why, from the beginning to the end, could he not live without regrets even for a second, even for a minute?
Enough! This world is going to end. I know it. Because from the very beginning, I have known and been able to see death. And so I came here. This is why, giving nothing decisive as present, it's the end of this world. As it's the end, I'll go to the next one. Go to the next, 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 to the next. Otherwise, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts and it hurts and it's painful and it's unbearably hurtful. But something must be carried on the next.
The demise that was brought to him whilst he was asleep, contrary to a swift and easy end, was accompanied with mercilessness as if chilling venom had been poured into his blood vessel. The arrival of the death whereby he could not even comprehend he had died, compared to the deaths until now, in which he was unable to detach pain and suffering from himself, was perhaps the easiest one. That was what he had believed. However, in no way was that true. Why had he died? First of all, had he really died? Within humans fearful of death, the wish to die as if sleeping is substantially present. But if Subaru, who had experienced that, were to be asked, then he would respond that it was not worth wishing for. In death, there lies the meaning of death. In the demise, denouement of life, something which was learnt from it must be attached to the end. Within chaos and despair, fright and yearning, Subaru sought the subsequent Book of the Dead. He must unravel what had occurred. He must unravel what had killed his self. Mysteries invited further mysteries, as incomprehensible and irrational depths followed him. Overlapping ends, continuously repeating tragedies. Though he had refused dying as if sleeping, dying as if being shattered, as if being gouged out, were indeed not pleasant either. From next to next, his life was aimed for, robbed, shattered, finally, betrayed. Why was no longer the question for that. Why had he had to save the blue-haired girl who had killed his self? Why had his self become so frantic in order to save her? Why had she given such a powerful push to Subaru's back, who was crushed and knelt down? Why had he gained strength by her words, gained resolve to move forward? Ahead of betrayal, he earnestly yearned for the desire which had actually not been betrayed, for the world which affirmed that it was correct. Natsuki Subaru offered his life as indemnification for the sake of the listener. Sorrowful misunderstanding, saving someone, and prized it open through sheer strength. Meeting Amelia, meeting Puck, meeting Felt, meeting Old Man Rom, meeting Reinhard, meeting Elsa, meeting Beatrice, meeting Ram, meeting Rem, meeting Roswell, meeting Petra, meeting the residents of Arlam Finch. No matter what, he would thrust refusal at any muddy stream that may advance upon them. It was what he had believed. Putting a check on his lips, facing assailing death once again, Subaru knelt down in the library of Taygeta. Without supporting his body, he collapsed onto the bare ground as if falling. His breath was rough. What drenched the entirety of his body was abundant cold sweat. Whether it was hot, whether it was cold, whether it was bitter, whether it was sweet, whether it was agonizing, whether it was pleasant, his feelings were blended into a heterogeneous mixture of likes and dislikes, black and white, and he was unable to comprehend the correct answer. It felt as if he was being struck from all angles and directions, from next to next.
With this 8 books.
Discovering the books of the dead of Natsuki Subaru, and ever since he commenced reading them, he was merely piling up the number. Saying number of books was something odd in itself as well. Not that the numbering kept on ascending. To have the next book of the same series for a book present in this library is not how it was supposed to be originally. Yet the number of books of Natsuki Subaru kept on incrementing continuously. Adding to the mystery, the mechanism of not being able to find the next book of Natsuki Subaru unless a book of Natsuki Subaru was read, this cycle progressed via an order. Without skipping a single death for the purpose of an interval, he followed the footsteps of Natsuki Subaru. And whilst following the footsteps, he thought about how tactlessly frank, incorrigible, immature Natsuki Subaru was. Particularly the last book, observing the fate of the 8th Book of the Dead. It was impossible to not feel that way. Natsuki Subaru, immediately after the announcement of the royal selection, fractured his relationship with Amelia, and ultimately hurt her simply merely because he could, without any apology or retrospection, then died in utter confusion. He who was reading the books felt pressed, his consciousness equivalent with the ego of the one in the dead. Merely the people concerned were supposed to experience that effect in particular, but it was still difficult to tolerate. A he wondered why did he not understand existed. On the other hand, a he wondered why would he lament not understanding existed as well.
Don't be trapped in the past.
It was a tragedy he had witnessed with these eyes an instant ago, hence why his body ached as if being torn off. However, that was the past. It was just a happening that had occurred in the past. Even if it were a happening right in front of Natsuki Subaru's eyes, who had faced death at that instant. Even if it were a happening right in front of Subaru's eyes, it was in agreement with Natsuki Subaru, who had faced that instant. That was the past. A past that persisted, for having turning into a difficult to forget. That was why, at the present instant, He would take a breather and leave the shock behind. He would leave it. That someone had killed Amelia. That someone had committed that terrible spectacle in the village. If not, then would get shattered. What would he do should Subaru shatter here, rendered unable to stand up? How would someone do something? Natsuki Subaru was not present here. That was why there was no other choice but for Subaru to somehow manage through.
Still haven't found it.
There was supposed to be something decisive, bestowed only upon Natsuki Subaru. It would be the key to make the precise distinction between Natsuki Subaru and Natsuki Subaru. At the very least, until that key was procured, this voyage of going through Books of the Dead would not terminate. The decisive key, which made Natsuki Subaru wings and attain flight as Natsuki Subaru. The key which had changed him into the savior who could catch Amelia, Beatrice, Ram, Echidna, Julius, Meili, Shala, Patricia, Gyan falling. At the current instant, there were no signs of it. Natsuki Subaru could not possibly possess the mettle, the magnanimity, to be a savior or a hero, to be able to fulfill the immense duty of saving someone. What he possessed was merely his standout stubbornness and the good fortune of being blessed by the people around him. However, that was not all. It was not that formless something. He possessed an omnipotent key, something which was further apparent, evident, which could be recognized at a single glance, which convinced everyone that he had the ability because he possessed it. He possessed it. That was why, in search of that,
Number 9.
once again he tackled samsara of death, whirling with mayhem and chaos, betrayal and despair.
My wish, Natsuki Subaru, to turn into you as fast as possible before I'm no longer able to bear with your footsteps, your wounds, your deaths in my...
Deaths were accumulated relentlessly. Ends relentlessly accumulated. Each time he felt ache, each time he was in agony, each time he lost something, each time he was robbed of something, he heard the sound of cracking, crying and screaming why and how, gritting his molars thinking it would end there, standing up whilst vomiting blood, sheathed in wounds. He advanced. The struggle of an uncouth man risking his life was present there. Not once but twice, not twice but thrice, not thrice but 4 times, and so on and so forth, getting cornered by situations and expiring. Yet he held his ground in order to smash through the block of turmoil. That was amazing. Plenty amazing. Truly worthy of respect. To not give up. That was something quite amazing. Even after experiencing so much, gritting teeth so much, and still fight to the bitter end was amazing. Truly admirable. His opinion had improved. But that was not it. That was not it. That was not it. That was not it. That was not it needed.
Something
Had supposedly happened, didn't it? Something had to have happened. Otherwise it would not make sense. Otherwise things would not hold true. Something had happened, which had turned the impotent, irredeemable Natsuki Subaru into developing wings, attaining flight, and turning into Natsuki who could save everyone. Someone, Amelia and the others. That was how it was supposed to be. That was why he was searching for it, dying, losing sanity, bloodshot eyes. Upon each instance of reading the Books of the Dead, personally experiencing the impact, terror, and the agony of death which Natsuki Subaru had to taste, trifling with the different situations, he grew further desperate and pursued his search. Yet, he was unable to find a single. He struck his head onto the floor. He had been all right while witnessing it. However, the instant he returned, his soul was fermented with disgrace.
Dad! Mom!
Present there had been Natsuki Subaru, who had exchanged words with his father and mother and apologized to the two of them. Present there had been Natsuki Subaru, who had been thrown into a different world, and who, for the sake of residing in this place, had bid farewell to those two. Even after carelessly forgetting all that his self had committed, knowing that his parents would be saddened as a fact, he conveyed words of love, self-satisfaction. He vomited, his tears overflowing. What was hurtful, was excruciating, was that he was painfully aware of the feelings of Natsuki Subaru, and the fact that Subaru had also gotten to know that his parents had forgiven it. Please don't forgive him. Please curse him. I wish his parents would speak ill of him, call him out for lacking filial piety. However, they had not acted that way. Neither his father nor his mother were as Subaru had wished. In order to console himself, he wished his parents to call him a petty human or things similar. He had been unable to achieve that. Subaru's father, Kenichi, Subaru's mother, Naoko, they were the greatest couple of parents. There was his self who was happy for that. There was the self who approved of the judgment Natsuki Subaru had been bestowed with, despite lacking all rights to be saved. There was his self who was going to be saved, making his unsightly. Is this the cause? With this as the reason, did he turn into Natsuki's?
No. No! 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 That's not it! Not something like this!
Scratching his head violently, striking his aching eyebrows with a fist, Subaru disparaged his own self. What Subaru sought was not spiritual salvation. What he sought was a key, a power further evident, which was established in terms of proper efficacy. The power which Subaru was ignorant of, which only Natsuki Subaru was cognizant of. Just as Subaru had succeeded in the manifestation of Orleonis, the special something which only Natsuki Subaru had awakened, that was exactly it.
The key to change the situation. I have to believe it exists. Or
The laceration of his guts, which had been the very last cause of his death from the present moment, touching the wound he was supposed to have from that, Subaru whispered. His memories began to overlap with what he had witnessed in Meili's dead, an assault on the mansion, perpetrated by Meili's both beloved and troublesome elder sister Elsa, a natural enemy for Natsuki Subaru. However, that was all about a world where everything had come to an end. That was all about a world which Natsuki Subaru had already surmounted. What was crucial was not sympathizing with Natsuki Subaru, but unveiling and obtaining the deception only he was supposed to possess, which only he was using. For that, only for that, he would read the books of the dead. Because only for that, Natsuki Subaru had been dying and redoing his actions.
please tell me! Natsuki Subaru! How are you special? How can only you stay being special? There must be something! Right! Something must have changed you! Something must have rid you of your uselessness and turned you into someone else! Please! Change my weak, pathetic, petty self who can't be useful for shit! I'm fed up now! I can't see everyone suffering! Not anymore! Something! Is there, right? If something isn't there, then That's why you're different from me. It has to be that way. It has to be that way. Or I'll be forced to admit it. You were the same as me. Weak, petty, completely powerless.
Kneeling down time and time again, and on each instance having someone give a push to his back, as he wanted to recompense everyone who acted courteously towards him, as they had acted kindly towards him. He wanted to pay them back.
Please, Natsuki Subaru, I beg you, please, just stop.
It would have been much, much better had he been a superhuman. He wished for him to be an existence completely dissimilar to his self, one who had transcended above weakness with both his and body. That was why he wished to be convinced by him that he had done what his self could never achieve. Yet, drawing books out as if plucking berries, having his head struck by continually piling deaths upon deaths, all whilst having full shatter upon each instance of that, eagerly, earnestly, as if sipping mud, he gnawed into his life force. But still, until the very end of the end, he did not cast aside the possibility he clung to. He opened the book he had in his grasp, prepared for his brain tissues being churned, for his being violated, for his soul being humiliated. He opened it up. After all, it was far more painful to have the very last hope severed than to feel ache or anguish.
You get it, right, Natsuki Subaru?
As if seemingly seeking consent, he called out to the person concerned who was not in presence here. The tone of that voice felt as if it had sustained a terrible loss of ambition. That could not be helped. After all, the person concerned was not someone to be enthusiastic about. He was not that great of a man. Whilst wishing for that to not happen, his fingers, as if pulling a rope, started to draw the Book of the Dead out. And what would follow would certainly be the finishing blow. Those feelings.
Yeah, I get it.
A white world. Upon noticing, Super was not in the library, nor was he a shapeless existence overlapping with memories, but had been sent to a place which he recognized, which was not here. There,
I get it. Natsuki Subaru? Huh? Because, you're me after all, you know?
standing still within the white world, Sampaku eyes he was well acquainted with had been awaiting Subaru. And that's the end of the chapter!
Yay!
73 done!
Woo!
By the way, Wolf, you were kind of too far back. I don't think the mic was picking up properly at the end.
Oh, the mic was a bit
Yeah.
loud.
It was on stream, just not in the call.
Oh, just not on Discord. Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I didn't hear it on Discord.
Cool.
So after a while, I was just like, well, there's a space for it. I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Welcome back.
We back. They were a little scared.
Yee.
But good.
They were about to
Good,
leave,
good, good.
and then they got scared. Excellent work, everybody! You guys are so good!
Yay!
Yay! You did so great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Tealdi, for guiding me through that.
No worries. There were some. I know I mispronounced some words in there, but it's just like, what? Nope. Just roll it, keep going.
Whatever.
Efficacy, that damn word. I always have trouble with that.
They always
Like if
come
I have a moment
nowhere.
to think about, if I have a moment to think about, I can get it. But when it just pops up, it's like F is C. Damn it, whatever, go.
Mhm.
All right, one word of warning. Here comes my rant to our community. So,
Uh-oh. What happened this time? Let's hear it.
if you come into our chat and you say anything about our voice actors, I am going to come for you in some way, shape, or form. In this community, we do not complain once about our voice actors. Is our Subaru British? Duh. He's been British this whole time. So if you're going to come in here and you're going to complain, why is he British? I am going to roast you on the spot. We are all going to come together and roast you. Do not come in here if you're going to complain about that. We have some of the best voice actors you can find. You come after my voice actors, I'm not going to be kind to you. Is that a very controversial thing to do as a creator? Yes. However, as we've seen in the voice acting community, there have been so many different productions that don't take care of their voice actors. So if you're going to come after my voice actors, I will come after you. Say what you want about me, I don't care. Because I'm going to just lay it back at you. But if you say stuff about our voice actors, we've picked our voice actors for a reason. They've been here for a long time. And if you want to do something different, go ahead and try this project yourself. Good fucking luck. You won't be able to get far. Don't come after our voice actors. Thank you. Have a great day. We only had one person who was just questioning why British, but nothing new there.
That's fine.
Huh.
However,
Look, it's the only Subaru I've known, so
exactly.
Brit Baru is here to stay.
Yes.
Thanks, bro.
We have an amazing community though that immediately came to arms. So we're good. We're goated actually. Thank you for my rant. I get incredibly angered and I kept it in throughout the chapter. So thank you. Thank you.
See, I have the stream open, but I never have time to like read the comments because usually busy narrating. Yeah, so I just have it open in another tab. And it's like, well, hope things are going okay over there.
The only reason I have to look is I have to moderate at the same time. Otherwise, I would ignore it. But woo!
I go into it to get those watch numbers up.
Yeah.
So real for that.
I do that too. I make sure to like it too.
Thank you so much, Gold, for your comments. They're very good. Hype. And our community, of course, too. You're all amazing.
Thank you.
Fantastic chapter.
Yeah.
Brief return of Elsa.
Whee! I got to be Arc 1 Amelia, which is really not much different in the voice department.
Yeah.
It literally. I died immediately. Excellent. I spent my entire time just adjusting gain the whole time. Oh, I'm sorry, Chase. I did not readjust it for this part. Here you go. You can speak now.
Hello.
Yay!
Yay!
Free.
Yay. All right. You guys ready for the next chapter? Or, Chase, do you need a little break first?
Give me like a minute.
We probably should give it a little break. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do. Oh, I hear a lawnmower. I understand.
I know. I need to get my sound dampening up.
That's okay. No, we can wait.
Hold on. Lawn care. How gross. Vile.
I don't even know if somebody's mowing my lawn or somebody's mowing lawn next to me.
It doesn't matter after a while. It's like, it's noise.
Ours come at like the butt crack of dawn. So like all you hear at like 6 in the morning is just you're like, why are you here?
See, we don't have to worry because we have a whole bunch of xeriscaping, so we don't have to worry about people mowing their lawns. We have to worry about them pruning trees.
Oh gosh.
And other crap, so.
That's a whole chainsaw.
Yeah. It gets so hot, they also start like 6 in.
Oh god, that's
like,
true.
Oh, it's time to get up. Yay. All right. Well,
you think you're going to wake up to the sound of birds? Nah, chainsaws. That's how
that's
I like
adorable.
it. A soundboard of all the characters I played. That is a long soundboard. Actually, more characters I've covered. The characters I play is now a lot shorter. It's just Amelia and a spoiler character that I'll talk about when Arc 6 is wrapped. Yeah, I don't think I play... Oh, and Schultz, of course.
Yeah.
I play dinky little kid. I've given up a lot of roles. I am no longer Ram, no longer Petra. But I think that's... Oh, I'm Capella. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I have quite a few.
Capeller.
Capeller.
Can you hear it right now? I don't know if you can.
A little bit's not bad. I gotta pee anyways, so...
Okay, great. Yeah, just give it a
I'm
moment.
gonna run. Delay stream, everybody!
Delaying
Delay.
stream.
Yeah. Delaying stream.
Doot doot.
Oh,
This is all too early for us.
God. This next chapter. Oh my god.
It's
You got this.
peak. It's peak.
Yay.
Yeah. So, what do you think about Subaru just being like, yeah, I'll just speedrun my deaths 100%?
That cannot be good for the mental.
No, that's probably real bad.
Brother's mental health was already in the gutter, but now it's even further. It's the most Subaru thing ever. Yeah, it really fucking is the most Subaru thing ever. Man. I'm really excited to see Arc 6 animated, I won't lie. Like,
Oh, I can't wait.
to hear Yusuke and Sean's takes on this stuff, it's going to be so good.
Mhm.
I'm really excited. I think they could get really creative with the directional choices too. It's like going to be really directionally strong, I would feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really, really excited. All this chapter reminded me of was Arc 4 Subaru going through the second trial. Yeah, I'd very much say that's a parallel to that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's yeah, sucks pretty hard. I think it's also really interesting too because he doesn't have the time to adjust like normal Subaru does whenever he's reacting to any of this information. So he doesn't have the time to like mentally settle like Subaru does in a lot of instances. But him just crying about his mum and dad, him not being able to be the one to be there, fuck. So
It
hard.
breaks my heart every
Breaks my heart
time.
every time, yeah.
Mhm.
He's watching another him say goodbye to his parents that he, one, knows aren't real, but two, knows he's never going to be able to do it himself. It's like, oh my god.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back. Can you still hear it a little bit?
Maybe.
Right.
But you know what? That's okay.
This is
It's
fucked
alright.
up.
I feel so bad. We could have switched chapters had we known that person was gonna
Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know they were coming. I had no clue.
Gold crashing out.
Literally, as soon as the chapter ended, it started. Like,
Yeah.
I was-
Oh, that's just
How
rude.
big's the lawn?
They were just waiting for your moment.
it's
It's like, okay, count down. Someone from the company's on the stream. It's like, okay, 3,
I
2, 1, hit it.
maybe won't be too much longer.
We can also start with it. It's okay.
Yeah. it'll be
If you're
alright.
sure, I mean, hopefully it doesn't sound too crazy.
Yeah.
'Cause I've-
If
To
you're
be
down
honest,
to
his
re-record, I
phone
guess.
went off while I was doing my narration.
Yeah, I'm
It's
down to
okay.
re-record. I'm just
That's true. Your phone was going off.
Yeah, because he went
Okay,
downstairs
wait.
to get breakfast, but he left his phone up here, and I was like, in the middle of reading, I can't get it. Oh well, we'll just do it in post.
wait a moment. Maybe it's done.
It
Okay,
sounds
never
like
mind.
it. Oh. just get
They
to
hear
hear
you
it
talking
come
about it, it's like,
close.
nope, start up again.
That reminds me, when I was camping like a few weeks ago, my dad and I drove past this lady who was mowing her lawn, and literally as we drove past her, it just exploded, and she just threw her hands in her head, and she's like, "Fuck!" And our windows were open so we could hear it, and all you hear is us go,
Oh my god!
as we drive by.
You made that lady's day 10 times worse. I hope you know that.
I felt so bad.
Crazy.
She was up that night just thinking about that moment. Like, not enough.
Both of your laughs were
laughed
echoing
at
in her
me.
skull for that entire week.
My dad and I are the worst for that shit. We don't realize what's going on. We just go,
Then afterwards, it's like, oh,
fuck, sorry.
damn.
That seems really bad. Sorry.
Bruh.
Z-Comic says, damn, the Hall of Memories has a weird mower ambient noise. Must be the memory book shredder.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. They filter it out.
Feed them in as you go.
See, it's in
It's
canon.
like, well,
it's
that one's
fine.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
Um,
janky at times, but we love it. This is why we mostly record
Okay.
on weekends and in the evenings,
Yeah.
because most people
That's
work.
right. There wouldn't be any
There wouldn't be any
anything
law.
crazy happening.
But we should be good to get going.
Yep.
So, whenever everyone is ready.
Yep.
Okay, let me pull it up.
Every 2 people.
Yeah. No flashbacks in this one.
You're so right, though.
I'm just gonna scoot my mic back now. You're gonna hear a big loud. Never mind.
Okay.
It's fine.
No?
Hey, thank you so much, little G.
Oh my god.
More like
you
Big
so
G, am I right?
Big G.
You are now Big G.
I've grown and graduated. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
You are now Big Boss G.
Our little cousins are now away for the afternoon, so we won't traumatize them any further. Apologies for the
I thought that was very funny that your little cousins were like, what's going on again?
They were at the front door right by where we're recording too, and they're just like, they were upset about something else, but this didn't help too. And I was like, it's okay, we have our milk, everything's okay. Thankfully, they know what YouTubers are, and they're like, "You're a YouTuber? That's so nice."
Oh, good.
That's so funny. You can still hear the lawnmower. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's only like 10.
Yeah, it'll be
Okay,
alright.
Very minute now, I'd say.
I'm gonna try to get my gain down even less, and then get closer to the mic.
Hey, ASMR.
Does this sound better?
Yeah, sounds great.
Does it sound better? Okay, great.
Crisp.
All right. Everyone ready? I mean, just Wolf. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, dude. Let's do this.
Good luck.
All right. Arc 6, Chapter 74, Natsuki Subaru. Short, black hair, legs with the same length as his upper body, eyes sanpaku, enough to kill someone. Those almost unpleasantly familiar features, no matter which one was to be chosen, were overlooking Natsuki Subaru while sitting on the white, bare ground. Astounded, fixedly, he gazed a deep stare into the opposing person's face. No matter which angle he looked at it from, it was a face he was acquainted with. No, it looked slightly different. That was perhaps because it was, in a true sense, not the form he was accustomed to seeing. That which had grown accustomed to looking at ordinarily, on overwhelmingly multiple occasions, was something reflected upon mirrors or the surface of water. Strictly speaking, the human face was not perfectly symmetrical on both halves. That alone shaped a sense of disparity. That was why.
Oh, I guess so. It's not a mirror reflection, so it feels a bit awkward. In that sense, this is probably closer to imaging it as facing a photograph or a video recording. Huh, isn't it? Oh! Could it be you thought the same thing?
When he slightly tightened his cheeks upon the single voice seemingly having read his mind, the opposing person guessed those feelings as well. Precisely so. Though his was flustered for that as well. Any response he could possibly give could neither serve as poison nor medicine. In the first place, what was essential for Subaru was not something on the likes of quick exchange of remarks. It was something far greater, exactly. The problem which could make everything quake was...
Once again, then. Hey, bro! Oh, no. Bro feels slightly faulty for an expression, huh? More accurately, hey, another me.
Raising a single hand, the personage greeted with a relaxed tone. No, he was not a person so undully distant. He was in existence such that even calling him someone close would be a half-hearted expression. After all, because the one present there was unmistakably was, with the same face as Natsuki Subaru, none other than Natsuki Subaru.
Natsuki Subaru. What was with that slightly different intonation? On top of that, calling yourself by your full name. Though I don't know, using what else could be correct. Though it's a situation often present in manga and stuff. It is pretty troublesome in reality. Natsuki Subaru!
Discerning rage for Subaru, who piled up remarks as if talking about good weather, Subaru stood right up at that spot. And as he tried to grasp the opponent's collars, his legs tingled instantly. With no strength driven into his knees, his stance crumbled.
Whoops! Watch out! Don't touch me!
The Subaru right in front of him had caught his body, which had been pitching forward and falling. The moment he came in contact with those arms, Subaru experienced unbearable repugnance and shook off the opponent's arms. At the same pace, taking steps and distancing himself away from Subaru, he continued glaring at the other person.
Why are you here? First of all, where is this place?
With Subaru within his field of vision, Subaru indicated the surrounding white world with his hands. A white space, a place with nothing, which was just like the cradle of Adlagna, where he had confronted that Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, Louis Arneb.
Shit!
It was a total mess inside of his mind. In accordance with the real time that flowed within the tower, his meeting with Louis was not something which had happened even scant hours ago. However, for Subaru had stockpiled multiple attempts pertaining to the 5 obstacles, it felt like an incident in the far-away, distant past. Furthermore, Subaru had personally experienced the life and death of Natsuki Subaru more than 20 times through the Book of the Dead. Even if the contents of the Books of the Dead were something which felt short, running through life and death in less than 5 minutes, there had been more than a year's time in which nothing had occurred. He had tasted those successively, indulgently. Plus, there was no guarantees regarding his cognition getting out of whack. The passage of time had been vague. On top of that, he had much awaited this meeting with an unanticipated opponent. Subaru widened his eyes and waved his arms about violently.
Why are you in this place? It's proof that you've caught up to me. You've read the Books of the Dead and caught up to me. Everything you were not aware of, you must have seen it in the form of personally experiencing it. My life in another world. All right?
With an indifferent tone, Subaru responded to Subaru, who had clamored, depleting his breath. Viewing that composed attitude, Subaru gritted his molars. He was unable to stomach that conclusive expression, that attitude of seemingly knowing all, anything, and everything. First of all, what did this man, making that odious face, say just now?
I caught up to you. Yeah, that's right. There's not a single thing anymore which you don't know about me. That's why. Don't joke around! Huh? I caught up to you, you say. Stop kidding! Don't lie! Not yet! I don't know about the most important thing! About that essential thing yet!
Roaring with his eyes open wide, Subaru seized hold of Subaru's collars this time. Upon that usage of brute strength, Subaru made no attempt to resist. Pulling the opponent's collars towards himself like that, from a distance where both their breaths entwined, he glared into those black eyes. Within the dark eyes of the face which was the same as his, the instant he perceived the same face reflected within, nauseating self-hatred surged within his own self. Whether he harbored that self-hatred for himself, or the self present before his eyes, was neither known to him, nor did he even contemplate considering it. Merely remaining at this extremely close distance, he glared at the opponent and unraveled his fangs.
Tell me! It's pretty convenient you're here. Tell me now! The reason you became yourself has to be somewhere! I haven't seen that. I haven't found it. That is... the reason I became myself? That's right! There must have been a cue for you to turn into yourself! You're... That must have been seen by you. No?
With his collars seized, Subaru is gazing at Subaru, non-resistant. He did not even try to repel away the arms waving him about. That gave Subaru the illusion that he was not even doing anything. He perceived exactly that, as being looked down onto from a higher level.
Stop looking at me like that!
Aiming at that unruffled profile, Subaru launched his fist. The fist wielded firm impact, blowing Subaru off as if he had been flicked away. There was no recoil, no similar pain striking back at Subaru. The pain Subaru sustained, injured, was only the pain Subaru had sustained. That was not identical to that which Natsuki Subaru had sustained.
Just weaving words as if you know things. Is that so? I get it.
Having been smacked by Subaru, Subaru had knelt down on his right leg. Observing him rubbing his struck cheek with the back of his hand, Subaru became convinced that the person ahead of his eyes, who spoke with as if he knew everything, was not mistaken. First of all, if this was the Crate of Lagna, the Hall of Memories, would that not make him the opponent he should be most vigilant of, above all other matters?
Are you Louis, the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony? Is it you again? Right? Me? Don't play dumb!
Last time, Louis, who had encountered in the Hall of Memories, had attempted to prompt segregation between Subaru and Natsuki Subaru, and eat that existence away from his head through one way or another. Back then, he had managed to escape those fangs from a hair strand's breadth worth of distance. He had their nature been such that they were been willing to give up through that alone and nothing more, they would not be called Sin Archbishops. He had witnessed that and has entirely just how ugly, how irredeemable the existence known as the Sin Archbishops were. Beetlejuice, Regulus, Sirius, Capella, all of them were the absolute lowest and worst of failures of personalities. Lay, Roy, Louis were no exceptions to that either. He could especially affirm that. What if Louis, who had been lying in wait inside of Raid's Book of the Dead, had utilized some method to hide and ambush within the Book of the Dead of Natsuki Subaru? Thus, it was plausible that he had lingered in wait for Subaru. Boldly so.
Isn't that true? Gluttony! Louis Arneb! There's no way I can be confused by you, who can change shapes and forms like this!
Relying upon the memories and names stolen from others, extorting even the form of their opponents rather than just their abilities, chewing and digesting them as if they were her belongings. That was the authority of Louis Arneb, as well as that of her elder brothers, Laybat and Kaitos, and Roy Alfard. She had demonstrated that artifice, even within the tower, lacking any regret. Nothing felt out of place, even should the place in which he demonstrated that merely have been changed to the Hall of Memories.
Devouring me and hijacking me in that way. Is that what your plan is? Even after being rejected once? Persistent little... Do you really want to return my death so much?
Without any vacillation, he voiced the words, "Return by death." He had personally experienced the memory of having to taste hellish anguish by voicing that on several instances. The penalty of having his heart be held in a crushing grip came accompanied by immense pain. However, it was still alright if only he was to be the one to experience that agony, compared to the cases where it had befallen Amelia or his surroundings. However, the penalty was not evoked for Subaru, who had shouted whilst crushing faint horror. Subaru before his eyes did not seem to have had his heart held in a crushing grip at all either. In but a single instant, he understood that Subaru had also been relieved at the lack of evil influences ingress, seemingly have been on the lookout for the same. That was infuriating. With the same face as his, he also bore the same thoughts as him. He thought of it as an insertion that, to the very last, he had his opponent were the same.
Just get it already! Is this really that amazing of a power? Is this an admirable power? It's just dying and redoing. Dying and redoing. Nothing more than that. If I, who uses it, am shit, then the results it brings are also shit! That's why. That's why I couldn't save anyone. I let everyone die because I'm weak. I make everyone miserable. Just like how, even now, nobody will get saved!
Return by death was nothing so adequate. Without doubt, it was a power as inferior as shit. It would be far better to not have something like that, this to be of need, though there had been a witch who claimed this power to be something splendid, an utmost prime thing, non-parallel in this world. He could never hold the same opinion. Even if an ant was made to wield artillery, it could never utilize it. Ultimately, it was unsuited to it. He was a weak, petty, lonely child who kept crying and throwing tantrums. What the witches in that dream of the tea party had stated was correct. He was hopeless. He was weak. He could never find it. He could never use it. Both Gluttony and the witch agreed, failing to comprehend that, we're damned. Just how many times would he have had to be deceived? How many times would he have to get his hope trampled underfoot? How many times would he have to get his vanquished until he learned? Why, after countlessly being deceived, countlessly having his hope trampled underfoot, countlessly having his vanquished, did he still think of doing it? Return by Death displayed all the unpleasant fragments of this world. It displayed the absurdities, the irrationalities, the destiny enough to make one avert one's eyes. Yet, how come?
I love everyone!
Without noticing, with his head hanging down, kneeling down at that very spot, Subaru shouted as if casting a curse. And upon that disgraceful grievance, similar to weeping, Subaru horizontally shook his head. While shaking his head, once more he spoke, converging with his words.
I love everyone. That's why I can't stop.
Erasing the tinge of red on his struck cheek with his fingers, Subaru stood up in Subaru's stead. The same attire, the same expression, possessing the same face and name, Natsuki Subaru, who seemed to be decisively different from himself. while looking at Natsuki Subaru.
The position you were put in. To be honest, even imagining its difficulty is rough. Everything completely new. Hajimeru. From men, 6 while being low level, without the option of going back. The complaints you voice out too. I understand all of them. Because those are wounds I have gotten to taste, time and time again.
With immense powerlessness, with immense ignorance, it was a countenance that had gotten to taste that countless times. No, he had gotten to taste that countless times. The defeat, the agony, the grief of death which Subaru had to taste. Subaru was aware of it all. He had witnessed all with these eyes. He had tasted it all with his body, and precisely because he had tasted those, precisely because he knew that was not a lie, he could not accept Subaru's words. He did not want to accept them.
Had I been strong, had I been smart, had I been more... It's frustrating, isn't it? Speaking as if you understand it! What the hell do you know about... I do know. You must also be aware of what I know. It's a pointless quarrel, actually. For you and I both.
There was no strength in his words of objection. Naturally so. An objection repelled the opponent's words, brushed them away while suggesting lack of agreement, crushed them, posed the statement that they were wrong. Such an intention was essential. Subaru of now did not have the ability to face Subaru with that. After all, he was aware of it. He was aware that was no lie or deceit, but the entirety of Natsuki Subaru.
I didn't look at your memories or anything. Hey, you can't be doing this after looking through one's diary as per your own convenience. I didn't look at your memories or anything!
Upon hearing Subaru's seemingly sullen voice, Subaru powerfully clenched his fists, slapped, poured with jeers, yet not bending his approach to dialogue. Subaru gave the impression of being far more mature than the Subaru. Perhaps even that was natural. After all, truth was that Subaru was supposedly a year older than Subaru. That too, he'd had rich experiences in that different world, having personally experienced death on multiple occasions, and on top of that, he'd woven many bonds and acquiring the positions of his current self. But still...
I didn't look at your memories or anything.
Once again, Subaru utilized those words. For once, right now, Subaru said nothing to Subaru, who piled the very same repentances atop repentances. Subaru, without even seeking any response, resumed as if muttering incoherently.
I wanted to have hopes for you. That you were an amazing guy. And if I got to know the something which was supporting your amazing nature, I'd be able to do the same thing too. But still,
he had ended up knowing it. He had ended up witnessing everything. Natsuki Subaru had no differences whatsoever from the Natsuki Subaru present here. The latter had ended up knowing that he was a weak and petty man. In a period of time unknown to Subaru, he had met people unknown to Subaru. He had run past a chronicle unknown to Subaru. He had witnessed scenarios unknown to Subaru. He was merely an ordinary human who had done all that.
by denying you, I wanted to proclaim something plausible and fulfill it.
However, he could not do that.
After all, I understand your feelings. Because you are me.
The world Natsuki Suru had witnessed, had tasted, he had viewed it. Natsuki Suru had fallen in love with this world, with the people of this world, with Amelia and everyone else. So he had seen, as well as the wounds he had taken on for them to survive. He had been misunderstanding, he had been misapprehending. Since it was regarding himself, it was possibly appropriate to say he had been conceited. The illusion of Natsuki Suru being a superhuman had been shattered and cast aside.
Yeah. I get it! I got it! Why you kept standing up again and again? Why you never gave up after dying again and again? Is that because that's all you can do?
Just like Subaru, Subaru had also slammed into walls he could do nothing about on innumerable instances. Upon each occasion of that, he died recurrently, repeatedly, amassing deaths, and amending the way in which he had met people, amending the way in which he connected to people. Subaru overcame hindrances. That was all.
Can there be someone who won't stand up despite Rem telling him so much to do so? Actually, conceitedly, after being punched by Otto, I noticed that! I always knew that Dad and Mum were considerate like that! I mean, they're my dad and Mum after all!
In the scenery Natsuki Subaru had passed through, the cue essential for surmounting things was not present, not the something which Subaru sought, but merely accumulated wishes.
I love Amelia. I want her to rely on me, to protect her. I want to be with her. The reason I wanted to be a knight was so that she thought of me that way. I was happy. I want to walk outside with her, without any failures. She is afraid of being hated. And I want to boast around that she's so incapable of being loved by everyone. I finally had Beatrice accompany me outside. I want to make her happy for a time as long as the one she's been in pain. She has the right to be happy!
That was why.
The reason why you don't give up is just because you love everyone! Bloody bastard! Why aren't you superhuman? Why are you still an idiotic brat? Be strong, like Reinhard. Be someone who can do anything, like Julius. If you can't do that, then be useful, like Ferris. How about exceeding in a single thing, like Wilhelmsson? Choose even one for you to...
By taking time and even experiencing agony, what he had realized was merely that Natsuki Subaru was an ordinary human, that he only possessed the cards similar to those Subaru possessed, that he was in dire lack of skill for properly utilizing them, that neither did he have good fortune when it came to victory or defeat. Even a single one of just those.
Any single one of them.
With a powerless voice, having forfeited all spirit, he whispered, any single one of them, even a single one of them, his hand incapable of wielding anything ought to grasp.
You're Louis, aren't you?
With a husky voice, he'd uttered a query unrelated to what he had said till now. Listening to that, Subaru, who had remained silent for long, nodded, saying, "Ah."
No. I'm Not Louis. Unfortunately, I won't even say that. I'd rather not have her disturbing. You don't need an explanation for her personality being the worst, do you? Yeah, I guess so.
Responding with a meager, feeble voice, Subaru hit his own face with his arms, concealing that his throat had shriveled up due to this howling, and up until this previous moment, oozily, pain started to well up in his fist, which had hit Subaru. If this were the Hall of Memories, then Subaru's body could not have stated to be a real entity here. That was how it was supposedly, and yet it was absurd that he could still feel pain. Yes, pain, death, was ever absurd and ever difficult to bear. That was accurately why Louis Arneb, the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, was mistaken. The thought of wishing it for her own self was unmistakably mistaken.
Why did you disappear? Hmm? Why did you vanish? You disappeared. That caused so many hardships.
The impotence of the ever-present incomprehension and the origin of everything. The reason why Nazi Subaru had disappeared and Nazi Subaru was born. Just what had happened to the body of Nazi Subaru, who had disappeared alongside his memories?
The reason why you disappeared? That was a total shit-eye on my part. I entered Taigeta with the intention of finding a way to capture Reed. Then, through the series of events, it was all great. Till I found Reed's book. But then Reed's book turned out to be empty. Then I bumped heads with Gluttony. As for the rest, you probably get it even without me having to say it.
Scratching his head, Subaru reminisced on his own shame. Encountering Louis Arneb in the Hall of Memory, Nazi Subaru had gotten his memories stolen, and forgetting all his life in another world until that point, his self, of course, had created Nazi Subaru, who could not apprehend the feelings of the people around him.
Don't appreciate yourself like that. It would be difficult even if I tell you so, huh? After all, you're me. Natsuki Subaru is a weak, petty, irredeemable, huge idiot. That's not wrong. But...
Whilst making a wry smile and gesturing his agreement, Subaru raised his eyebrows in response to Subaru, who had whispered powerlessly. While looking at that Subaru voiced the continuance of the words he had held back. That was...
You're an amazing guy, Natsuki Subaru.
That was his honest opinion lacking all exaggeration, having witnessed him returned by death greater than 20 times. Whilst looking at the man before him, he steadily narrowed his eyes. With a face he was used to looking at, with a face he was tired of looking at, a face he thought that was even distressful to look at, it was his own self. It was his own self. It was not his own self, though it was his own self. He did not believe it to be his own self. That face had a reaction as if it had been pricked with something unanticipated for the first time. It was gratifying.
The closest person.
There were not many humans who loved their own self from the bottom of their heart. Subaru particularly belonged to that category. Subaru hated himself. Perhaps Nazi Subaru was no different in that regard either. Subaru hated himself. However, as the closest person, once Nazi Subaru laid eyes upon Nazi Subaru, that saying, This would be exceedingly embarrassing, yet so cool, was the thought that had crossed his mind.
I respect you, who's weak, hopeless, unable to do anything, but still continues to struggle, and loves them. That's why. Huh? There was meaning in me, reading your Book of the Dead.
He had not opened the Book of the Dead merely in order to digest his weakness, to grieve the cease of trials, to slam grudges on his self, who had the same face as his own self. Of course, neither was to have this megalomania of tracing the foundation of the superhuman Nasty Subaru, and therefore attaining unparalleled strength, granted. What he had sought was learning that Nasty Subaru was merely human. His deeds, his path.
You sure are a guy who says embarrassing stuff suddenly, you?
Having remained frozen by Subaru's oration until then, Subaru abruptly stirred. Subaru's eyes narrowed in ill humor, no, in a state of feeling somewhat awkward, and directing his sharp gaze at Subaru, he slowly stretched his fingers ahead.
It's pretty questionable for me to say it myself. But you sure can say all that after having looked back onto my entire past up until now. Now that you mention, it's something like Natsuki Subaru starting life in a different world, from zero. It feels so weird to have the main character's name be the same as your own. It's better than having the heroine have the same name as your mum, isn't it? Ooh, no, not that.
Unreservedly reciprocating Persephilage, Subaru exchanged a gaze with Subaru. Subaru, who seemed somewhat to have tasted an under-the-shoulder swing-down, pointed himself with his hand and...
I had said this all earlier, but is this seriously okay? The possibility of me being a fake from Louis hasn't supposedly disappeared in its entirety, you know? It has disappeared. You didn't revert even after I actually hit you. I mean, reverting because of that only happens if it was Yanagashiwa's Moshu ability.
As per Subaru's objections, that could not truly be used as rationale. However, at that point in time, Subaru let go of the skepticism regarding Subaru. The reason for that was perhaps what Subaru had commented earlier. For argument's sake, even if Lou Arnett were to eat away one's life from head to toe without sparing a single part, he believed that she would not be able to reconstruct that face, that voice, because she didn't have the ability to comprehend blessedness, felicity, happiness. That was why.
She, who loved nobody, cannot understand the emotion of returning by death for the sake of someone you love.
Subaru, before his eyes kept silent, as Subaru took a long, painful inhale. Now that he had voiced it out, it was terribly stale, naught but sweet nothings, pleasing to hear, nothing more. Yet he had been unable to discover any other responses. Hence why the Subaru before his eyes was unquestionably Natsuki Subaru.
Why are you here? Were you waiting for me?
He recognized the Subaru before his eyes to be possessing the same foundation as himself. On top of that, the doubt surfacing in his mind regarding the two Subarus happening upon each other here. Upon that question of Subaru, Subaru took a firm step on the pure white floor.
The reason why you and I met each other here is because this place is the sole point of contact between you and me. The point of contact between you and me? The reason me, whose memories are within the tower, and you, who doesn't have memories, cross one another, is just because of the Books of the Dead in this loop. You and I couldn't have met each other after this and before this both. On second thought, let's go back to the first question. Why are you here?
Unconvinced by the explanation Subaru had given, Subaru once again cast the same question. Strictly speaking, he could not comprehend the logic behind the two Subarus coming across each other here. It had ended up being that Subaru, who possessed memories, and Subaru, who did not possess memories, both existed alongside each other. The rules of the formation of a Book of the Dead, its intricacies were unknown. Now that it was mentioned, the books that Natsuki Subaru had accumulated up to the number of times he had died up until now was strange in of itself. Precisely, that was a phenomenon that unless the deaths of Natsuki Subaru were not being observed by something other than the world, it would not come into existence. Did that mean Adlagna fulfilled that role as a spectator?
But if that's the case, then if Louis, who was in the Hall of Memories, had been observing Return by Death, I don't know for what reason she would be in such high spirits. If she can recognize that from the outside. She may be staying in the Hall of Memories, but she can't be its ruler. Its ruler is probably a guy even more nasty, I think. Taking this situation into consideration. I get it when you say it's a nasty guy. The one most plausible is...
Halting words there for once. Subaru and Subaru collectively stated,
Sage Flugel. Yup. Sage Flugel.
They called that to be the ill-natured, utmost plausible personage. The personage who had connections to the establishment of this Pleiades watchtower, who had installed an examination such that Reed was placed in it, and furthermore, had imposed 400 years of asceticism upon Shala with unknown deadline. In all honesty, Shala was pitiable. He wished to snatch her away from that master of hers, if possible.
Then, the reason for myself's possessing and not possessing memories existing alongside is... that's the type of question difficult to find an answer for. Since I'm here, and you're here. That's just how it is. Huh.
Whilst feeling a sense of unease, taking in Subaru's words, Subaru drew his chin in. Truth was, it had been the kind of question lacking a question setter. Even if theories of some kind were to be arrived at, in the end, they could never provide the answer. If this question had to be investigated thoroughly, and the answer had to be found, then...
As long as you truly aren't Louis Arneb, it shouldn't be a problem. That's a pretty bothersome way to confirm it. Do you really trust me? I trust you. I trust you. If you let me hit you one more time on the other side, I'll trust you even more. Is that so? I wouldn't say it's the best bargain, you know?
Interchanging frivolous dialogue in a relaxed manner, Subaru shrugged his shoulders at Subaru's words. The cowardly way of conversation for delaying the core of the dialogue like this, with other people's side, when employed against himself, had been seen through far too easily. That is why Subaru took it upon himself for the third time, fired the same question.
Hey, other me. For what purpose are you here? You must also know, I won't take something like that.
Upon Subaru's attitude, who opted for reticence, Subaru whispered back with his black eyes straightened. Even after hearing that, he did not return persephalage similar to what they had until this moment. Instead of that, what levitated in Subaru's black eyes was the radiance that had been always present since the beginning. Perhaps that was what was known as, and was often called, a feeling of guilt.
Hey, what do you think will happen in a unification of memories?
That was why Subaru deliberately asked that question cheerfully.
In the Okamari of a conversation of this sort, what would be the normal answer, huh? I have no idea. Clearly, it feels like something which has no answer to it. To be honest, you seem to be the more knowledgeable one here. Do you know about any rules that would be advantageous to know about, which I don't? You read the book dissecting me, didn't you? It's half and half. Half and half, huh? Yup, half and half. If something like you and I carelessly bump into each other, and one eliminates the other happens, what will you do? Don't say all that! Whatever you think when anxious is generally what I also think when anxious. That's it, huh? Then, no hard feelings, no matter which one wins, No, I'll be crazy bitter for sure. And if I'll be bitter, that means you'll be bitter too. Well, I guess so. That's probably right. Pretty shallow, huh, Ed? Huh? What did you say? Pretty shallow, Id. Huh? Is something wrong? No. I just probably misheard. I guess. Huh? That's right! There are some things that you might be wondering about their likelihood, so there are some things I want to tell you. Can I? Well, since you've heard everything I've said up till now, go right ahead and say whatever. Originally, you were more informed than me regarding this world. Though that advantage has more or less disappeared because I read the Books of the Dead. There are some things that have changed a bit, you know? Things that have changed? After losing memories, I talked to everyone. I got to know everyone. It's the story of Natsuki Subaru's starting life in a different world from zero. You don't know about it. First up, Meili, okay? She's a bit in many ways. Saddled with bombs upon herself, so it's rough. But she understands if you talk to her. So, please, have a proper talk with her. I'm imagining Meili-senpai is pretty angry right now. Yeah. Got it. And then, there's this huge scorpion wandering about inside the tower. But its true identity is Shula. That makes things really dangerous. But she's not doing that because she wants to. Please, help her too. Yeah. Got it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. When I met Louis, I got my back hiked hard by Rem. Back then, I didn't remember Rem, so it was only after I read the book that I recalled what kind of girl Rem was, but as expected, that was my Rem. No. It's my Rem, you know? No, mine. Mine. Ram did say that when the season of snowmelt arrives, things invisible will be visible and will surely show their faces. As expected of her. Yeah, I guess so. About that guy. Julius. Well, it'll be fine. Even if I don't say anything, yeah? He's not that unreliable. If I must tell you something about him. Yeah. Agreed. Thank you for apologising to Dad and Mum. Yeah. Thank you for saving Otto and Garfiel. Yeah. Thank you for saving Petra, Frederica, and everyone from Harlem Village. Yeah. Thank you for taking Beatrice out and holding her hand. Amelia. Thank you for liking Amelia. I also like her. I really love her. Yeah. I know. Natsuki Subaru. You're an amazing guy. I sincerely know that. If it's you, then it will certainly be alright. Yeah. I guess so. Yeah. If it's us, then it'd certainly be alright. It'll be alright. Huh. Yeah. That's right. It'll be alright. You are amazing. I sincerely know that. Yeah. But I have to say this. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
With a shake of their hands, a cliched exchange marked the finale. He inhaled and exhaled. Likely, the unification had not been conducted in an irregular form. No, by all rights, there had been no supposition that the process of unification was to be carried out in this place. Subaru's very existence, all happenings that had very much occurred, all of them had been irregular. That was why. Standing stock still, Subaru finally noticed tears rivuletted down his cheeks, dripping down his chin, and falling as droplets. For some reason or another, he did not feel like wiping them off, as seemingly those streaming tears certainly had been shed by Subaru, from what it seemed. The tears shed by someone who was right now steadily melting together with Subaru, within Subaru, and repeatedly, breathing deeply, he went around the consciousness within his mind. What had been scorched within his own memories were suddenly 20 deaths Nazi Subaru was unmindful of, flashed back. All of them told the struggling and writhing within the tower, and the numerous deaths which had become a part of the course of events had been experienced as of getting taken over. The visuals of all warring sections established a connection. They had established a connection, but
You're crossing over the bridge even more than what's sufficient, you know.
his other self, who had lined up words thoroughly commending Subaru, digesting his fight in solitude and his heavy struggle for trusting his comrades, Subaru arrived to an understanding.
Certainly. It was just as what Subaru had stated. I can respect you.
With such thoughts, deep breathing of trying to decelerate his eccentrically rapid pulse beat, he bowed his head. After that, Subaru raised his face and stared ahead of him. That was the unchanging white space, an area of blank space resulting from the Hall of Memories, which had reduced his irregular state. At the place where another Subaru had been until merely a few moments earlier, who had shaken hands with Subaru, was the petite shadow of someone crowding that space. And looking down onto it, Subaru straightened his black eyes. And
So, did you get to see what you wanted to see? Louis Arneb?
Subaru softly asked that to the one who had proceeded to read through his books of the dead, to then reach the place and subsequently disappear. Natsuki Subaru. No. Louis Arneb.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely.
That was
So fucking
that was
good.
purely amazing, Wolf.
Yeah.
10 out of no, not even 10. 100 out of 10 voice acting.
Both of you coming at us with voice acting and narration and Subaru on Subaru. Genuinely,
Crazy.
seeing both of you grow so much from when you guys first started this off with Hollow to now. I accidentally gave you this chapter gold, but I'm so happy I did, because it's just so nice to see the two of you be able to do this chapter together.
We did it, dude.
Ooh.
I know, you did so amazing, man.
Man,
Gold,
you
you
were
did
so
amazing as
fucking
well.
Good. Your emoting, dude, I could not have gotten into character like that without it. That was so fucking good.
Yeah,
I didn't
you pushed me
realize.
on.
For how long you've been changing Subaru's way of speech until you got to this chapter?
Oh, so you noticed it, eh?
It took a fucking while. But when I had two Subarus in the same room, I went, oh my god. Fuck. Good for you.
Subaru's back, baby!
I finally don't have to
This
have
is
you
the culmination
whispering
of
all the
everything
time.
this arc was building up.
Yeah.
Build up to this moment. That my God, that is the best thing ever. It was tearing me up, Wolf. You made me tear up at work. How dare you?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No, it's all good. There is
Oh.
one line that will always hurt, and it's literally that summer vacation line. All
Yeah.
because of a different series. That one always hurts, and you saying it in the way you did. Oh my gosh,
Our chat
that
was
is
blowing
so
up
amazing.
the entire time.
I had to really focus on staying like in character for each Subaru at the end there because I was crying really hard while doing it. So I
Yeah,
had to
I know
let
what you mean, yeah.
the more sappy, like quiet crying on Natsuki Subaru, and then the Amnesia Baru I had to have the more open, full-on, snotty-nosed crying. Oh my god.
That was amazing. I mean, doing all of that, it's like an hour long chapter was, but it's like doing it all by yourself and keeping the range of emotion. It's tough, man. It's not
That was
easy
like
at all.
self-therapy right there. I think for
Yeah,
anyone that can
it's
relate
hard
to
not to be genuine.
Yeah, for anyone that can relate to Subaru on even a small level, this chapter is probably the most important of the entire series because it just, when you can relate to hating yourself or something about yourself or regretting things or anything like that, this is what makes Subaru such a good protagonist, is him going on this journey of understanding that he's never going to be perfect. He may still hate himself forever, but now he can respect himself a bit too. And that is like a leap and jump that we haven't seen in the series yet. Is Subaru going to be perfect in that in the future? Is he always going to hold to that? Of course not. He goes through terribly traumatic shit. But this conversation right here will echo throughout the rest of the series. Always remember it, because it will be fundamentally important to Subaru's character.
Yeah, it's
It's
definitely
such
the
amazing
culmination of every growth that he has up until this moment.
Yeah, it's...
You know, he never loved himself. He you know, it no matter what he went through, he was doing it all for other's sake. And you know, that's the commendable part of him that he does love about himself. But it's also, you know, what he thought was his weakness, you know?
Yeah. And this is also, and although it's never explicitly really mentioned in this chapter, apart from them both shitting on Filugal because he's a dick, This is also the message of the series and why it's important Subaru is a sage candidate, someone that grows to master their emotions and themselves. It's kind of like the beginning of the culmination of that. This chapter.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Greenie, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Gold. This was a hard one to do, but I think we fucking knocked it out of the park. That was really fun to voice.
Yeah, if only at the very beginning there wasn't a lawnmower. But...
Hey,
You
Ode
couldn't hear
Laguna
it.
was working busy on those souls that needed to get reincarnated, okay? Like,
Yeah.
I was
Also,
getting mad
Jimmy-
because
It
you were
all
doing
worked
so
out.
good, and I was you were doing so good, and I was hearing stuff outside my window, and I was God damn it.
Panicking?
Like
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was like, I can't.
Well, luckily for you, even though you yourself were anxious, I didn't think any of it came across in the chapter at all when you were reading.
Nope.
No.
I
The way
didn't-
you adjusted your
I
gain.
barely
made it perfect.
noticed it.
Yeah, thank you.
I was listening to the stream. It wasn't like hearable at all. So if
Mhm.
anything, honestly,
Good,
it
good,
worked
good.
out.
Yeah, because the extra sound
So-
padding from Discord was probably then hit with the extra sound padding from Streamlabs, so it probably cut most of it out.
Double protection.
Woo.
Oh,
But oh my god, this is the most cathartic chapter for
Mhm.
the
Subaru.
entire series.
Mhm.
It will be really
This-
hard for Tapei to top this chapter for me in the future. And I know he's going to give it a shot, but fuck.
Just 6 arcs for this moment.
Can I just say, it's so fucking Subaru to have 2 named chapters back to fucking back, by the way.
He
Just in
would.
different characters.
True.
It's just a fucking Subaru thing to do. I
Man,
loved... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, I thought these chapters were amazing. There was a few lines in the narration that were really hard because I was like, what words are you using right now? It's like I forgot what's the word that came up like twice? Personification, like what?
Oh, yeah, that one. I was
Is it-
like, oh, God.
Persephone
How is he going
or
to
something?
do
Yeah.
that?
Persephone.
Persephone.
I'm trying to look it
Or
up.
Persephone large, maybe? I don't know.
There's
It's,
so many
it's probably a
words.
French loan term, I imagine.
Yeah. It's so funny though. Sorry, I got that moment because I got it got it right the first time, and the second time I don't think I got it right.
It's fine. I think the bigger focus was on the emoting for both of us. The
Yeah,
always
yeah,
getting
100%.
everything
Mhm.
perfect.
Yeah, you guys did excellent.
Y'all were on sync. So
Absolutely killed it.
Well, you know, the truth was, I was trying to match Subaru, like, you know, Wolf's performance in the motion of the narration,
Mhm.
right? It wouldn't be right to make it dry otherwise.
Dry or
You know, I always try to
monotone.
do that in my narration. Yeah, I try to do that in my
Yes.
narration as well because it's the tone of the scene. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's also good here because, as you were saying, Wolf, like when you delivered a line, I was like, all I need to do is feel what he's feeling in this moment and then deliver the narration. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just like extend it further because then that can lead to the
Yeah,
next
to
bit.
extend it further and then it bleeds into the next line. Yeah.
It really helped me with my Subaru on Amnesia Baru dynamic because I'm the same character with a different level of confidence in my voice, bantering with each other at the end there, basically.
Yeah, I like the choice of last.
Yeah, that long
sometimes.
stretch. Yeah, it was good. It's good. It's hard. It's easy to keep everything the same pace of dialogue
Mhm.
and ruin it, but you perfectly changed up the way they were delivering lines, and you know, you were adding, you know, things that made it sound more natural just off the top of your head. It was great adaptation.
You know, I might have changed a letter or two there, but I feel like that was more honest to Subaru's character, even if it wasn't directly translated from the Japanese. In the English sense, I think it came across a bit better doing it like that.
Yay! Oh, thank you, the real Superman. Appreciate it.
Whew, I'm very proud of myself, and I'm very proud of you,
Woo,
Gold.
woo,
And you
woo.
did amazing last chapter, Teodi. Oh my god, guys. You fucking
Yes.
kicked ass today. Ooh.
Common, we did good with our side voices.
As I was saying that, I
Greeny
was
to agree with commentary.
I was about to say, I was immediately, like, as I was saying that, I was like, oh god, how do I insert this naturally without sounding like I'm an asshole and forgot? But then,
No, it's okay. I did it to be a prick.
because
Ya
as
prick.
I was saying it, I was like, oh god,
Ya
if I
prick.
stutter and then say it, it's going to seem like I forgot, rather than me just trying to figure out how I say
all
it.
of you. I just got my ego boosted by myself. Nah, but amazing chapters. Thank you everyone for being here. Everyone worked so hard. We're back tomorrow. Asterisk.
Oh, I'm
Don't
setting
really
up the
care that-
chapters tonight.
Yay! We're gonna be live tomorrow at noon. Remember, we're gonna take a break Wednesdays so the boys and I can record the podcast. So you guys have something for Friday. And then we'll be back the Saturday after. We are almost on arc 6.
Yeah, very close.
We're right at the end.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.